Hey everybody, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thank you guys as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. I've been doing some exclusive reviews and videos lately on the brand new Keurig VUE single serve brewer. This is a great new machine, and if you want to check out our other videos to get the skinny on this machine and find some recipes, make sure to check out our other videos here on Aromacup.com. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of an old favorite, the Keurig B70, with this brand new Keurig VUE single-serve brewer. Show you some of the differences between the two, brew a couple beverages, and we'll show you how these two stack up next to each other. So let's dive in and show these machines to you. All right, guys, so here they are side by side, two of the behemoths in the world of single-serve brewing, the brand new Keurig VUE here on my right side, and of course, the old favorite, we've talked about this guy plenty of times in the past, the B70 from Keurig. Now, I'm going to show you some of the differences between these two machines. The first thing I should mention right off the bat is that there's definitely a price difference between these two machines. The Keurig VUE is more expensive than the B70, and the B70 in the past we've said is one of the more expensive, if not one of the most expensive single-serve machines that you can pick up. Now, don't be swayed by that, however, because there's a lot of great quality to be found in both of these machines. It's just worth noting that if you want to get into single-serve brewing with these machines, just remember you're going to put a little bit of money into it, but it's not going to hurt because you're going to get some great drinks out of it. So let me show you the differences between these two. Now, the Keurig VUE has one of the largest water tanks I've ever seen on a single-serve machine. Over here, we've got a 74-ounce water tank. That's really, really useful because the Keurig VUE can do a multitude of different beverages. Now, on the B70, we have a pretty sizable tank, a 60-ounce tank. And again, that's because the B70 can do a number of different beverages. However, it is a bit limited as compared to the VUE, so we'll talk about what each of these machines are able to do. The B70 has a LCD screen on it, and this allows us to access things such as the size of our brew that we're going to make use of, and we can also access when the machine should turn off, clock functions, various things like that. And the Keurig VUE also has much the same features, except the Keurig VUE makes use of a touch screen. So whereas on the B70 our functions are used by simply clicking buttons, we can just use our finger to click around on this touch screen on the Keurig VUE. And I should mention, I really like the touch screen on the Keurig VUE. It responds really well to touch, and it's very, very easy to use. That is to say, of course, the B70 is very easy to use as well because it has these nice clicky buttons here which allow you to jump around based on what it is that you're going to be brewing by using the machine and various things like that. Both of these machines obviously are pretty big. They're both hefty, they've got good weight to them, they both have good pumps in them for brewing our drinks. The difference between the two when it comes to the pumps is that the Keurig VUE has a much smarter pump. Based on the type of beverage which we tell the VUE to make, it's going to use a different amount of pressure to brew that drink. Whereas over here on the B70, it's got a great pump, but we can't tell it if we're brewing tea or if we're brewing coffee and various things like that. It just uses essentially the same amount of pressure for all drinks. So if you're really picky about your drink, you want to check out the VUE because it's going to give you access to a much more customizable drink. Now, one of the biggest things that I should mention is another difference between these two machines is the type of coffee brewing cup which they make use of. The B70 makes use of an old favorite and old standard, and that is, of course, the K-Cup. We've known the K-Cup for a long, long time now. We've talked about it for years now. It's very well known in the single-serve world and really easy to use on a machine like the B70. In the Keurig VUE, however, we are now making use of these brand new VUE cups. VUE cups are very different from a K-Cup, and let me show these to you side by side. Now you will notice that a K-Cup has a little more depth to it, whereas a VUE cup is definitely a little bit wider and obviously designed very, very differently. The reason for this is that in the case of a K-Cup, when we brew with it, we simply puncture a hole through the top and the bottom of the K-Cup. With a VUE cup, we punch 2 holes in the top and we make use of this concave edge right here on the VUE cup in order to cause for pressure to be distributed differently with the VUE cup and again brew the beverage very differently. So, big difference in your brewing receptacle on both of these machines. You're not going to be able to use K-Cups with the Keurig VUE, and that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about upgrading. You probably want to make sure you use up all your K-Cups before you end up diving into the Keurig VUE. So that's one of the big differences on these machines. Beyond that, both of them work really, really great, and let's show you how they work right off the bat. I'm going to open up the brew basket on the B70, and I'm going to actually go ahead and make some coffee in this case. Use some Green Mountain Sumatran Reserve. Pop this guy in. Now, remember, in the case of the B70, I'm going to be punching a hole through this airtight package when I close up the brew basket. In the case of the VUE, I'm going to be punching holes in the top of my cup. So now, I'm just going to go ahead and close both of these guys up. Puncture the seal on both of them. Now I'm going to grab a couple mugs. Drop these guys in. Now, both of these are ready to brew at this point. Here's a big difference, however, between these two units. In the case of the Keurig VUE, I now am going to have the option to choose the type of beverage which I'm making, which in this case is coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and select coffee on the touchscreen. And here I can choose my cup size very, very easily by making use of the touchscreen. I'm going to go ahead and stick with, let's say, an 8-ounce cup in this case. So I've got an 8-ounce cup selected on the VUE, and I'm going to go ahead and brew using this 8-ounce setting. Another thing I should mention real quickly is on the VUE, I can choose the option to brew a strong cup of coffee. So in other words, the VUE will take a little bit longer to brew my coffee and make a stronger cup. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the regular right now and hit brew. So now the VUE is going, and it's going to do its job. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to the B70, and again I'm going to get it into brew mode. Now in the case of the B70, in order to choose the brew size, which I would like to make use of, I just make use of these buttons on each side of the menu button here on the face of the unit. And again, in this case I'm using just a visual. I have a very small cup going all the way up to a tall cup. Now I can do very large brew sizes on both of these machines, which is very, very useful. But again, the B70 is not going to tailor itself specifically to the drink that I'm making. Instead, it's just going to be brewing whatever K-Cup has been put into it. So let's go ahead and brew the mid-range size cup, which should be about an 8-ounce cup. Let me go ahead and hit brew. Now again, both of these machines are really, really fast. You notice the VUE is already done brewing, which is great. And the B70 is going to jump right in, and it's going to finish its brew process pretty quickly. So, as always, we talk about speed in the world of single-serve coffee making. You're still going to get the same amount of speed with both of these machines, which is great. So if you need to get out the door, if you have a busy family, something like that, both of these machines are going to answer your need for having beverages really, really quickly because they both work very fast. They've got those water tanks. They keep lots of water hot at all times and ready to go. And they're both really easy to use, as you can see, because all I need to do is pop in a portion cup, hit brew, and I'm ready to go. So there you go. The B70 is already finished. Now, both of these machines make great cups of coffee. I should mention that. But it's also worth mentioning that because the VUE will tailor itself to the drink, I think that it does improve the quality of the drink that you get, and especially because of the new pressure pump that's in the VUE. So there's our coffee coming out of the B70, and here we've got our drink which just came out of the VUE. Both of these are about the same amount of coffee, no matter what, but they're both going to brew a little bit differently based on the flavor profiles of, in this case, the VUE and the drink type that I choose. And over here on the B70, all I can really do is choose the size of the beverage. I can't tailor the machine to the beverage type. So that's something that's worth mentioning. Now, all I have to do on both of these for cleanup is simply pop open the brew basket and toss the cup. Well, yes, I can toss the K-Cup because that's really all I can do, right, is just get rid of the K-Cup. In some cases, I can reuse them by making use of some of the reusable options, which we've spoken about in some of our previous videos and showed you guys how to use. But here's something that's really cool and new with the VUE Cup, and that is that these new VUE Cups are now recyclable. So whereas K-Cups are not recyclable at all, you're going to notice that there is no indication on these K-Cups that they are recyclable, and that's because they're not. This plastic is not recyclable because it has to be able to withstand a lot of heat, guys. But in the case of these new VUE Cups, Keurig has managed to make a cup which is recyclable. This is really, really easy to do. Now, you'll want to make sure that you let these cups cool down most of the time. I'm a professional, so I can open this guy up while it's still a little bit hot, but you're going to notice that VUE Cups have these tabs on the back of them. Now, if you want to recycle these cups, all you need to do is grab a hold of this tab and peel off the top of your cup. Now, as you do this, you're going to notice that the filter which houses the coffee is going to come with the foil. So the reason for this is that this way you don't have much mess, guys. This is what's really, really cool. This is all one package right here. So this way you can pull this apart, and now you can toss this. You could also compost that coffee if you compost and things like that. You could rip this open and compost that coffee, or you can just simply toss this piece. And now this plastic is going to be recyclable. Something I should mention here is that in this case, this is a number 5 recycling plastic. So you need to check and see if you can recycle number 5 plastics in your local area. That's something worth checking out, but this is a great move towards making the world of single-serve brewing a lot more green. So that's a big thing to mention. That's a big difference between these machines because, as I say, we can't use K-Cups in the Keurig VUE. They're just not going to work. They're not the same size, not the same brewing capacity and various things like that. So it's worth mentioning that. So let's just go ahead and wrap this up by showing you how we can brew some tea by making use of both of these machines. In the B70, I'm going to make use of a Sleepy Time herbal K-Cup, and in the case of my Keurig VUE, I've got this green tea cup right here, and from Celestial Seasonings. I'm just going to drop this guy in, and I'm going to close both of them up. Now again, over here on the B70, it's pretty straightforward. I essentially choose my brew size and then I start brewing. So I'm just going to go ahead and in this case, I'm going to do the smallest brew size by just pressing the buttons on the face of the unit, and I'm just going to hit brew. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to brew tea. Now, as far as the B70 knows, it could be brewing coffee, it could be brewing some other kind of specialty K-Cup. It doesn't really know what I'm brewing when you come right down to it. That's not a bad thing, but the cool thing on the Keurig VUE is that it actually is going to know what kind of beverage I'm going to be brewing. And it's going to know that because I'm going to do that setting on the touch screen. So I'm going to pop a mug right underneath here. And now I'm going to go ahead and on the touch screen select the T/other option. And again, I'm going to choose my brew size. Now in the case of the Keurig VUE, the smallest brew size I can do is 6 ounces. So I'm going to go down to 6 ounces. And again, I'm just going to hit the blinking brew button. And while this guy does his job, I will do mine as always and remind you guys, please check out Aromacup.com. Join us on the website, talk with other coffee lovers, check out our other video reviews, recipes, tutorials, and a lot of other great information, all on Aromacup.com. You can even save some money by checking out our money-saving coupons and videos available to you on Aromacup.com. Please come over, join us. I'd love to talk coffee and tea with you guys. I hang out there and chat you up about coffee and tea anytime I possibly can. Now, remember guys, one of the things that is an important thing to mention on this machine is going to be that we have the option to be able to select the type of drink which we're going to be making, which I've done in this case. I've selected to make tea. So the machine knows specifically that I chose to make hot tea, and as a result, it's tailored itself to the beverage which I've made, which is something that I think is really going to improve the type of drink that you're going to get out of the Keurig VUE. Now, these are not totally comparable because they're two different types of tea, obviously, but I have noticed that I definitely get more flavor out of the Keurig VUE based on the type of drink that I select. And of course, another thing that is worth mentioning is that with the Keurig VUE, I can do something I've never been able to do with a Keurig machine. And that, guys, is the ability to make cafe drinks, specialty coffee drinks, which before, in order to do that, I could use specialty K-Cups on machines like the B70. However, with the Keurig VUE, it's an all-in-one package. And let me show you how that's done. So, in order to make use of this brand new cafe option on the Keurig VUE, we're going to use these new VUE cups, which are specific just to the new Keurig VUE. These right here are specialty VUE cups, which have not been available or made until now, and this is something that's really, really cool. You're going to notice that in this package, I have 16 cups, 8 of each type of cup. I have a frothing VUE cup and I have coffee VUE cups. These combined will make a cafe drink, which again, I haven't had this kind of package available to me in the past with a Keurig machine ever. So this is brand new and really, really cool. And let me show you guys how we can make use of it. So I'm going to take a fairly sizable mug here, and I'm going to pop this guy into the Keurig VUE. Take out my previously spent cup, and now something that you're going to notice is that these new cups, these new VUE cups in these dual packages, which I can get, have steps listed on them. In the case of this vanilla latte milk frother, it says step 1. And this specifically is very important because you're going to want to use step 1 first. So let's go ahead and pop this guy into the Keurig VUE. All right, so now again the machine goes into brew mode. Now I'm going to select the Cafe tab. Remember guys, this is brand new. This did not exist on any Keurig machine before this. So this is a really cool new feature which you did not have access to previously. So I'm on the Cafe tab and I have the froth option. All I need to do now is hit brew. The cool thing about this is that again, because the Keurig VUE can tailor itself specifically to the type of drink which I choose to make, it knows right now that the pressure pump should cause for some frothing to happen based on the type of cup which I have put into the brewing basket. So this is really, really cool because in this case it knows that I was making use of a cup which again specifically is made for, in this case, frothing milk. So now that that's done, I can pop open the brew basket, take out my spent cup. Now I'm going to take step number 2, which is going to be my house blend coffee. Again, clearly marked step number 2. Pop this guy in, close it up, and now I get to choose just a couple other things. I can choose if I would like for this brew to be strong or not, and I can choose the cup size. I can only choose 2 cup sizes here, 4 ounce and 6 ounce. I'm just going to stick with 4 ounce, and I'm going to leave the strong option turned on, and I'm going to hit brew. Now the cool thing about this, guys, again, is that the touchscreen will walk you through the entire process, which is incredibly useful because it will start off and it'll tell us that we should froth first, and no matter what, we need to froth first. We can't choose another option on this machine. We have to use the frothing option first. And then after we froth, then we can start brewing our coffee. So this really does allow us to get pretty much a cafe feel using one machine. There's not a lot of other single-serve machines that do things like the Keurig VUE does. This is totally brand new, and remember, this is something that we just haven't seen before with a Keurig machine. So it's a really cool new option. If you want a machine that does everything, I think the Keurig VUE is going to be the one that you're going to be looking for. So there you go. That's a vanilla latte. So you can see already, guys, the breadth of beverages that I'm able to make using the Keurig VUE over the Keurig B70. Now remember, I really do love both of these machines. I've used the B70 for a long time. You guys have heard me talking about it. I've done a lot of recipes on it, a lot of videos on it. I really do think that it's a great machine, but the Keurig VUE is definitely introducing some brand new, really cool features that were not previously available at all. So just to recap, let's talk about some of the cool things. First one is, of course, between the K-Cups and the new VUE cups, you can recycle those VUE cups. That's a really cool new option and something that a lot of folks have been looking for. So you now have that option. You also get a bigger water tank on the Keurig VUE over the B70, so you can make more beverages. And of course, that's the biggest thing worth mentioning. You can make more beverage types. Not only do you have access to regular hot coffees and teas, you can also make cafe drinks, and you can do iced drinks, iced cafe drinks, iced coffees, iced teas, and the machine will tailor itself to that drink type based on what you select using the special touch screen that is available on the Keurig VUE. So that's a little side-by-side comparison for you guys to show you two features of two of the behemoths in the world of single-serve coffee making. Still love both of these machines, but I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with the Keurig VUE so far. Definitely becoming a favorite here in my virtual coffee shop, brought to you by Aromacup.com. As always, guys, I'm Brian. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to enjoy your cup and join us on Aromacup.com, and I'll see you guys next video. Take care.